Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Hope everybody's having a rockin' time. I am having a good time today. And I had a patient come in this week. And, I always talk about my shows and I try to base my shows on what you, the listeners, want. I know a lot of you send me emails and questions through my website. And I answer them. I always answer them personally. And somebody came in this week and they said, listen, Dr. Joe, the name of your new book is Prescription for Extreme Health. And they said, all right, give it to me straight. What do I have to do to have extreme health? And I thought, gee, I wrote a book about it, and I never did a show about it. So we're going to talk about the things you need to do to have extreme health. And it's little things, not just what you eat, but how you eat, what you add to your food, different lifestyle things that you can put together to get that level of extreme health that I hope that's your goal, because it's my goal. So today's topic, what do we got to do to get extreme health? Couple of things. I was outside and this week planting my herb garden because I like to have a garden, and I have tomatoes and cucumbers and basil. Those are the three standards I always have. And then I throw a bunch of other herbs in there too. And I thought about this, and I said I never really talk about herbs on the show and how important they are to add to your lifestyle, because they're pretty powerful when it comes to helping you get well. In fact, a lot of recent studies show that they can boost your taste buds. First of all, it makes it taste good. Scientists at the University of Oslo in Norway, they believe that herbs and spices should be part of your diet because of the antioxidants that are in there. About 1 gram, about a half a teaspoon of cloves are going to supply the same amount of antioxidants as eating a half a cup of blueberries. Now, I was at an event last week, and when I go to events, I'm always fascinated at this. This is a neurosurgical group that I work with, and they were having a party at their kind of an open house, and it's got a couple of hundred people there. And the food that they served was good. They had a little vegetable section, and then they had meat section. But I'm always amazed, if you ever notice this, you go to parties, and they serve things that have garlic in them. Right? You're sitting there, you're eating hummus or whatever it is, and then you're trying to talk to somebody up close because it's really noisy, and you just can't get away from their stanky breath because the garlic is in there, and you just try to turn away. And so here's a little trick I want you to do. Once again, part of your extreme health makeover here. I want you to get some cloves. Now, cloves are the things like you put in oranges at Christmas. You put them in ham if you still do those silly things like eat ham. But get a clove, and you buy them real cheap. And I keep them in my jacket pockets. I have a couple of suits. I have clove in plastic bags. I have in my car. And just take a clove, and there's a little bud on the end. You could break it off and just suck on the clove. And as you suck on it, the oils are released. And cloves are antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. So they help kill bacteria and germs in your mouth, which is good. And they really make your breath smell nice. So whenever I go to these events, first of all, I don't eat the garlicky foods because I don't want to smell somebody's stanky breath, and I'm sure you don't want to smell mine either. But the benefit here is instead of eating a mint, because a lot of times the mints have things like artificial sweetener in them, and if you've ever heard my shows in the past, artificial sweetener is one of the absolute worst things you can put in your body. The clove gives you antioxidant, gives you fresh breath, helps kill bacteria in your mouth. And as the clove starts to dissolve, which it will, you can chew it and swallow it. Because now you're getting all the benefits of those antioxidants, and it's actually good for you as opposed to being bad for you like a lot of mints that have sugar and artificial sweetener in them. So just carrying cloves around with you. And what's cool is this. Eventually, if you don't use them, they'll start to lose some of their potency. Throw them away. They cost pennies for a bag of them. Really cool. They don't go bad. They're not going to melt in your pocket, like gum or something will. And it's a smell, because people always go, something smells nice around here. I mean, who doesn't like the smell of cloves? It smells like Christmas. But it's really a neat little trick that you can do, and I teach a lot of people this, and many times when I'm with my patients, I'll just put a clove, stick it up in between my cheek and gum. And then if I need to, get some fresh breath, pull it down, kind of suck on it a little bit, stuff it back up in between my cheek and gum. And then you can talk, you can do your things. If you're on a date, kind of a nice little trick you can do if perhaps you're going to be close to that person, or maybe kissing that person, really close to that person. You don't want to have stanky breath. Put the clove between your cheek and gum. You can go wonderful night. Clove can still be there. So just a little trick, another thing you can do about reaching extreme health and also having a better life. So there's fresh herbs and there's dried herbs. They all work great. Peppermint, I have peppermint growing in my backyard. Once you plant peppermint, just so you know, it becomes like a weed. It starts to take over things. But peppermint is great. You can make peppermint tea out of it. You can make peppermint like a lemonade if you want to in the summer. Really nice to have around. You can just take peppermint and lemon juice, add it to some seltzer, and make yourself a little drink, kind of like a mojito almost. And peppermint will grow. Once it takes hold, it'll grow quickly, and then you just have to actually start to pull it out a little bit. Basil, of course, being Italian, I love basil. You can make a pesto. So easy to make. And I'm going to talk a little bit, if we have time today, about raw foods and how important it is to eat something raw at every meal. Raw foods have something in it called enzymes. And enzymes help break down inflammation. They help bring cells together and chemicals together to make them heal. So it's so important that you bring down the inflammation in your body. And so if you're doing raw foods has enzymes. And as a chiropractor, my job is to make sure that we get you as healthy as possible. Because if you come to our offices, we want to get your nervous system working. We want to check for pinched nerves, muscle spasms that might be causing pain. But we also put together a nutrition plan because we want you to eat the right food so that A, you heal faster and better, and B, you're not doing the things that are causing the inflammation, making the pain worse. For example, I can't drink caffeine. If I have caffeine, I get a headache. So a lot of people come to us and say, Dr. Joe, I have neck pain, I have headaches, I have bursitis, I have back pain. And when we look at their diet, they're on a very inflammatory diet. So not only do we do chiropractic work with them, we also get them on an anti-inflammatory, high-nutrient diet to get the body to heal. And something simple as pesto, basil, pine nuts, which are also very good for you, a little bit of garlic if you want to, lemon juice, olive oil, salt and pepper, amazing. So you can grow basil, make the pesto, put it in freezer, small containers, because you don't need a lot. And then throughout the year, you can just pull out some pesto and eat it. But raw foods are important. That's why I have Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, where you put raw ingredients in there, which are loaded with nutrients. So the minimum amount of nutrients you should get in a day, take Dr. Joe's Super Greens, take Dr. Joe's Essential Source. That's really part of the extreme lifestyle that I recommend. And if you want information on Super Greens, Essentials, a bunch of other supplements too we have, those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Or you just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and you see all the supplements, our books. You can send me questions through the website, listen to podcasts. You want to make appointments to come see us? We'd love to be your doctors. So the website's there 24 hours a day, drjoeesposito.com. Folks, going to have to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, I'm going to open up the lines early today. Number's 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. And that number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. But give us a call if you have a healthcare question, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. I am so glad you're spending a little time with me today. And what we're talking about today is how to achieve extreme health. Not just average health, extreme health. What's it like to be pain-free? What's it like to live longer? What's it like to sleep well? What's it like to have energy? What's it like for your brain working at optimum levels? What's it like when all your friends are getting older and you're not? It's kind of fun. And there's a couple of things that you can do, and that's what we're talking about today. Using herbs is really important. Again, I don't eat animal products. I've been a vegan now for over 30 years. Not asking you to do that. Asking you to find out what you can about health, and then the decision is pretty obvious. But I've never asked anyone to follow my lifestyle. I have one friend, I think, who's vegan, actually. One person I call a close friend. He's in California. So I hang out with people that don't necessarily follow everything that I do, and just like I don't follow what they do. But you'll find that the more you learn about health, the more it becomes very clear. You have to have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. That's it. There's your plan. There's your health care plan. Not an insurance plan. Insurance plans have outrageous deductibles, outrageous copays, make absolutely no sense. I don't know of anyone ever who's ever used their insurance and was happy with it in the past, 5-10 years. No one's happy with what's going on right now. So you have to take care of your own health. And little things that we're talking about today are the things that you can start doing every day that are going to make a huge difference in your health care and in your pocketbook. You're going to save so much money by doing little simple things. It'll be ridiculous. At the end of the week, you'll go, where did all this money come from? Oh, I didn't spend it on stupid things. I spent it on smart things. A couple of things you might want to consider, too, as we continue on. I'm going to take some callers, too. If you're on hold, keep holding. Number's 844-44-Dr. Joe if you have a question, 844-44-DRJOE. To Department of Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture, they did a study and they found that cranberries contain more antioxidants than just about any other fruit. They work great to help prevent disease. They can stop a lot of aging problems that we have. They contain tannins that can stop bacteria from adhering to your digestive tract. That's why they work, by the way. When people have urinary tract infections and they say drink cranberry juice, there's something in cranberries called tannins, and they prevent the bacteria from sticking to your bladder and your urethra. And so that's why they work so well for urinary tract infections. But here's the thing. If you're going to do cranberry juice, it's got to be pure cranberry juice. It's very bitter. Not cranberry juice cocktail. Cranberry juice cocktail is loaded with sugar. Sugar does what? It feeds the bacteria and actually helps them to grow. So if you're drinking cranberry juice cocktail and it's not helping your digestive system or your urinary tract, and you go, it didn't work, because you weren't drinking pure organic cranberry juice. Now, it's bitter. You mix it with water. It usually comes pretty concentrated. You can add a little stevia to that if you want. Stevia is a natural sweetener. Has no calories, and it's not going to feed the bacteria and help the bacteria grow. But if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing pure cranberry juice. Now, you can do dried cranberries. You can mix it in with your salad, but make sure they're organic. Because if they're not organic, they might be adding sulfites. They're preservatives to the cranberries, and those sulfites can actually cause headaches and ultimately can be carcinogenic. So if you're going to do dried cranberries or dried fruit of any kind, it's got to be organic. Because if it has sulfites in it, it's not something you want to do. You're taking the benefits of the dried fruit and now making it a negative as opposed to a positive. I'm going to start taking calls at 844-44-Dr. Joe. Isaiah, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. E. So my wife was diagnosed with endometriosis a year ago, I think we're coming up on, and she did have the surgery. It was a successful surgery, but she still feels like she suffers from some of the symptoms here and there. And I just want to know, what could she do naturally to get that to subside? But more importantly, what could she do to eradicate that? Because I personally believe it can be defeated. I just don't feel like there's enough research. So what do you know, and what can she do? Thanks, Dr. Joe. I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. No, I know lots about that, Isaiah. That's a real good question, actually. Endometriosis is when the endometrium, the lining inside the uterus, those cells start to grow outside the uterus. And that can cause a lot of bleeding. It can cause cramping, cause a lot of pain. It can throw your hormones off. So a couple of things that we should be doing, whether you have endometriosis or not, or whether you're a man or woman. Number one is you got to avoid stimulants like caffeine. So coffee, tea, chocolate, those have to be out because they certainly make the problem a lot worse. You want to eat, we were talking about raw foods before. Raw foods have enzymes in them, and enzymes help fight the inflammation and help the cells function at a more normal level. So my recommendation for everyone is have something raw at every meal. Now, when I say raw, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocados, a salad, Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, because those are going to give you the enzymes that your body needs. Now, if you take a digestive enzyme, and we have a supplement called Dr. Joe's Enzyme Support, if you take it with food, it's going to help you digest your food. If you take it on an empty stomach, those enzymes can be absorbed into the blood system and then can go working on being anti-inflammatory, breaking down a swelling in the body. So depending when you take the enzymes, if you have a cold, if you take it on an empty stomach, the enzymes have a tendency to go fight the viruses, germs, and bacteria. So for someone like her, I'd recommend raw food. More raw food, the better. Absolutely no stimulants whatsoever, coffee, tea, chocolate. Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, that's all going to alkalize your system. When you have a bad diet or the cells become abnormal, there's usually an acid environment involved. And we should run at an alkaline environment. So here's a little trick she can do, and any of you can do. Go to a pharmacy, drugstore, health food store, get something called pH papers. pH papers are little tiny strips of paper. And what I want you to do is urinate on them tomorrow morning, well, after you have them, of course, and pee a little bit because it's going to clean out your urethra, and then wave this paper through your urine stream. And there's going to be a color chart that comes with it. And I want you to look at the color chart, and you want to be about 6.5 to 7.0. This will make sense when you see the color chart. It has numbers next to the colors. If you're closer to 6.5 or lower, that's not a good thing. You're way too acidic. And that's when you start to see abnormal cell growth. The mitochondria in the cells don't work very well. The mitochondria produce energy. So you got to alkalize the system. And one of the many, 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 many benefits of Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source is that it gives you minerals to help neutralize your acids in your body. So get that. Cut out what I call the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I'm going to cover those later. More fruits and vegetables, more raw food. And once we alkalize the system and cut that out, we should be good. Last thing I would check is the nerves in the low back. The nerves in the low back control the colon, sex organs, and bladder. So if you have pinched nerves going to the uterus, that can be contributing to the endometriosis or any function of the colon, sex organs, and bladder. You want to make sure the nerves are working properly in the low back. If you want more information on Super Greens, Essential Source, digestive enzymes, other supplements, those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Also available on Amazon if you want to get them there, along with my books. The website is, again, drjoeesposito.com. The number here, 844-44-DR-JOE. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. So happy to spend a little time with you. What fun, huh? Get to spend a little time together. I'm so glad you're here. Talking today about what do you got to do to have extreme health? Not regular health, not average health, but what do you got to do to get extreme health? And what does that look like? I'm amazed. I've been in practice now over 33 years. And patients come in all the time and they say, I had no idea this is what it's supposed to feel like. I had a secretary one time. She had celiac disease. She couldn't eat any wheat. And it took her years to realize that. She was totally misdiagnosed, and she always had diarrhea and vomiting, and she was nauseous all the time and sick. And she goes, I always thought that's how everyone was. Until she finally realized she had celiac disease, stopped eating wheat, and got a little better. And then she started working for us, and she started getting better still. And she said, I can't believe that this is what health feels like. I just thought every day was supposed to be miserable and always sucked. And I said, no. Life can be fun. Life can be a joy. And that's what I want you to start experiencing in your life, how much fun you can have, because you have to have a normally functioning nervous system. The nervous system controls everything. So if you have bones pinching nerves, muscle spasms, that can cause problems. You're blocking the messages from the brain to the body and then back up to the brain again. You have to have a normally functioning digestive system. How many people right now, raise your hands, have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating? Raise your hands. Most of you. Because I know this because you come in as patients and I see you, and about 85% of my patients have some digestive problems. I always joke that 85% of my patients have digestive problems and 15% lie. Because everybody's got something. You just don't talk about it. You know, it's not first date conversation. Hi, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. A little gassy today. It's not something you talk about. But what you eat is going to cause digestive problems, and if your body is lined up properly, can cause digestive problems. So if your stomach is pushed up against your diaphragm, that can cause acid reflux, which prevents you from breaking down food properly, which can then lead to malabsorption issues, which can then lead to nutritional deficiencies, even if you have a good diet. And the acid coming up into the throat can actually lead to things like esophageal cancer. But chronic cough, runny nose, that's a big issue. So chiropractically, we check the spine. Chiropractically, we check the digestive system as well, my team of doctors. And then we make sure you have a good diet. And that's how you achieve good health. Now, one of the big questions I get, if you're on hold, by the way, folks, keep holding, 844-44-DR-JOE. I'll get to you. The big question I get every day, I get a lot of questions every day. It's so funny. When I go to work, I say, I know I'm going to get this question, because everybody has the same questions. Is, Dr. Joe, what's a good bread? You know, I hear you talk all the time about don't eat breads because it's loaded with sugar and even the wheat breaks down to sugar. What kind of bread should I eat? And unfortunately, and this is hard for me to say as an Italian, there really isn't a healthy bread out there. Now, if you're going to eat bread, which you shouldn't, but if you do, don't. But if you do, still don't. But if you still do, I want you to eat gluten-free breads. Now, here's the thing. Gluten-free bread doesn't taste very good. I'm telling you right up. So you're going to eat less of it. But you got to break this habit of bread. For some reason, we think that bread has to be part of every meal. We have to have a bagel in the morning, then we have to have a sandwich at lunch, and then we have to have some bread at night. You cut out the bread as one of the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. I've put it under the sugar category because it is a sugar. You'll be amazed how much better you feel like within a day or two. But if you're going to eat bread, there are a lot of gluten-free breads out there. Some of them have egg in them. Now, I don't eat egg. I'm a vegan. But if you're going to eat eggs, it's your choice. But the gluten-free breads are not going to give you all the gluten because gluten, and there's different types of gluten. There's wheat gluten. There's corn gluten. The gluten in wheat contains 2 components, gliadin and glutenin. And gliadin and glutenin can cause an inflammatory reaction in your body. And so if you're going to eat wheat, again, it's still, even if it's gluten-free, it's still sugar. It still breaks down to sugar, whatever they make it with, tapioca or potato starch or whatever. It's still going to break down into a sugar, but you're not going to get that gluten reaction. And a lot of times folks are having problems with wheat lately because of some companies now spray weed killer on the wheat to kill it right before it's harvested. And the reason they want to kill it, it's easier to harvest because the plants are dead. It's like pulling out dead weeds are easier than live weeds. And what happens is a lot of that pesticide, that glyphosate, can end up on your food. And then you eat it, and you can be having a glyphosate reaction. So gluten-free bread, if you're going to do it, prefer you don't do it, but if you're going to do it, that's the kind you want to have. I'm telling you straight up, it doesn't taste very good. But once you start eating right, you're going to realize you don't need bread. It's not that important anymore because you're going to start feeling so good so quickly. You're going to say, yeah, I mean, I'm Italian. I can go for a piece of bread with some butter, but I know better. And if I even eat a little bit, I start to see some reaction. And that's where the problems come in is most people are sick all the time. They're not experiencing anything close to extreme health. So they don't know what it's like to be healthy. So do what I say. Give it a shot for a week. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what? I'm wrong. But if I'm right, which I am, you'll say, yeah, this is what I want to do. And yeah, I'm going to miss a few things. But is it worth it? Trust me on this one. Nothing is better than having extreme health. Let's go back to the callers. If you have a question, 844-44 Dr. Joe. Mike, how can we make your day better? Still there, Mike?
Hey, Dr. Joe.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dr. Joe.
Yes.
Hey, love your show.
Thank you.
Quick question on, I've been following you for a while now, and at 55 I do triathlons, and I've never felt better in my life. I've got an issue popped up in about the last several months. Almost like a rash around my eyes, and I've looked it up. I don't know. I had one doctor say it was maybe eczema, try a little hydrocortisone or something like that. And I tried different things, and I can't figure out. Sometimes it goes away.
Sure.
But I've read up. Is it just something that I've never had this problem in my whole life? Any detergents or things like that, and I'm trying to use good stuff. But
good.
Any idea what that means? Is it something acidic or?
Sure. A couple of things. It could be. I used to have a rash on my eyes if I used soap at a commercial, like a restaurant or something, and it was the deodorant soap. One of the soaps that have a lot of smell to them, my eyes would swell up like crazy. And like we said, we talked about clothes soap and dish detergent. Those have to be the unscented, natural ones. It could be coming from your liver. Many times rashes come from the liver, skin issues. But if it's just the eyes, I have a tendency to think I might be wrong there. Here's a little trick I want you to try, Mike. Get yourself some organic coconut oil. And
organic coconut.
It's buy a bottle, it'll last you forever. And a couple of times a day, just rub it around your eyes. Close your eyes and just rub it around the eyes. Because it's antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. It lubricates the area in that around the eyes, and around the same age you and I, our body starts to dry up, and so sometimes we have to lubricate it. So many times I'll see people don't get enough fat in their diet, like avocados or nuts, and so that could be an issue as well. But start to think when you got the rash, did you do anything weird? Did you wash your hands at work maybe, where they have a different type of soap? I would recommend Castile soap at home. Castile soap is like the ultimate soap. And try that and try the coconut oil. Let's see if that solves the problem.
Okay, coconut oil it seems like I've heard something like that. Okay.
Yeah, probably on my show. Yeah. And by the way,
exactly.
Thanks for listening, Mike. I do appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Man, appreciate you big time. Thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, folks, if you have a question, 844-44 Dr. Joe. My website, if you want to get Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Folks, that's the minimum amount of nutrients you should be getting every day. Relatively inexpensive. For what you're getting, you're not going to get a better deal in the world when it comes to nutrition. Other supplements, the vitamin D, the nitric oxide for circulation for all parts of the body. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Sign up for my newsletter. That's on the website as well. We send out a lot of good information on the newsletter. We don't give out your email address. Don't worry. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Send me questions through the website if you have them. Podcasts are on the website. We want to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We want to be your doctors. So, folks, got to go to a break. 844-44 Dr. Joe. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. I am so happy that you and I are spending a little time together. Nothing makes me happier. I really enjoy doing these shows. I love answering your questions because it's so much fun. Because everywhere we go now, people say, "You're Dr. Joe." I was at one of the big box stores the other day. I borrowed a chainsaw from a neighbor, and the chainsaw fell apart on me, so I had to bring it to the big box store. And the guys were there, and they're like, "You're Dr. Joe?" And I said, "Yeah." And they put it all together for me and everything. And oh, no charge. Thank you so much. So it's a lot of fun. But I want to give you the information that you need so you can get well and stay well. And so I can't imagine doing anything more fun than this show. So we're talking today about what you need to do to get extreme health, not regular health, extreme health. And if you've listened before, and if you're on hold, folks, keep holding. I know we got a lot of callers. I always talk about the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. So I'm going to tell you what they are, then go back to the callers, and then I'll come back and go through the 7 deadly sins, because these are the things you want to cut back or cut out of your life. And they're not hard to do. In fact, it's amazingly easy once you start to do it. You think, I can't do that. Yes, you can. So the 7 deadly sins, say them with me if you're a regular listener. Ready? Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Good Lord, that's everything. That's your whole diet. How did I know what you eat all day? Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. It's like I read your diary. That's what most people eat. That's why most people are sick from a chemical standpoint. From a structural standpoint, pinched nerves, bones out of place, we need to fix that. You need our help to fix that. But the food you have control over. And what can cause bones out of place? Car accidents, sports injuries, lifting, bending, squatting, housework, yard work, working out. And if you work out, you're building up strong muscles around crooked bones, if you have crooked bones. I want you building up strong muscles around straight bones. This way you get exponentially more benefit from your workout. Car accidents, I've never seen a car accident ever where the car was damaged and the occupants weren't. If the car was damaged, you were damaged. How often? 100% of the time. And that's why we see so many car accidents in our offices, because people get it. And you got to get fixed right away. The insurance companies, they're mean, man. You wait a couple of weeks, they're like, well, we don't know if it was caused by the accident. You could have fallen down a flight of stairs after the accident. So as soon as the accident happens, you want to get your friends, family, yourself, come see us so we can work on that right away. And even if the accident was 50 years ago, you still have to get it fixed. But the insurance companies probably aren't going to play as nice. So we're going to talk about alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener. We're going to talk about French fries and coffee and something called acrylamide. You need to know what the word acrylamide means. Very important to your life. And that's even with chips. All right, let's go right down the line. Dustin, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. Joe, how are you?
Very happy.
All right, I know we've got to be quick here. I'll be quick. I spent several years in the military. I've had a couple of disc dissectomies in the back.
Oh.
I had a hiatal hernia operation. And since then, I lost my ability to vomit.
Yep,
over the years, now I've just started developing pancreatitis. And when it first set in, I was drinking at the time, alcohol at the time.
Sure.
But so it all got blamed onto that. I wasn't a heavy drinker and never have been a heavy drinker, but that's what it got blamed on. Since then, I've spent 3 different times in Army medical centers. And after I've stopped drinking, it's been two different times with the same issue.
Right.
They found sludge in the gallbladder.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have started to kind of blame it on that, but not sure. And they keep,
so what's the question?
Going back and forth with,
what's your question?
Well, what's the cause? What's the cause?
Yeah. Okay, so what's your question, Dustin?
I have bouts of nausea every day.
Sure.
Almost, and it comes up out of nowhere. Like I'll just be sitting there like at a soccer game for the kids, and then I'll just get a bout. I can't vomit, but I'll get a bout of nausea.
Yeah. Well, what happens a lot of times is a nerve that controls your stomach. One of the major nerves is called the vagus nerve, VAGUS. And if the vagus nerve is being irritated, that can cause nausea. And many times, even with people that have had the Nissan procedure or the hiatal hernia surgery, we need to gently massage or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm and get that muscle, it's all muscle, the stomach, the diaphragm, the colon, to relax. And when that happens, many times that solves the nausea issue. So if you've had that surgery, chances are you have scar tissue that formed in there, and we may have to get in there and massage it. Now, if you've had back injuries, which you said you have, the nerves in the upper part of the back, like the lower neck, upper back, those are the nerves that control the stomach. So you may have pinched nerves going to the stomach as well. So we would check the nerves to the stomach, manipulate the stomach if necessary, and then, of course, we'd look at your diet as well, because if you had a history of drinking, we may have to get you caught up. And I'd certainly recommend Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and probably Dr. Joe's enzyme support to see if we can help the liver detoxify a lot of that junk.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. Where's your closest office to Lawrenceville?
Duluth. We're right in Duluth, right by Gwinnett Place Mall.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
so
great. Thanks.
call the number you just called during the week, and we'll get you set up, okay?
All right,
Thanks so much, Dustin. And, folks, the number 844-44-Dr. Joe does ring through to my offices when I'm not on the air, so just so you know that. Let me see. Keep holding, folks. I got a couple of you, but I won't have time to go to you before we go to the break. So if you're on hold, keep holding. A lot of good questions. Neuropathy. Is oats okay? Somebody just turned vegan. Jamal, so welcome to the vegan world. Let's talk about the 7 deadly sins, and then I'll get back to the callers. I want to talk about something called acrylamide because in the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, and we cover them very in depth in my most recent book, Prescription for Extreme Health, there's something called acrylamides that occur. Now, acrylamides occur when you heat foods to a very high temperature, like French fries or chips. When you fry things, acrylamides are formed. But now, which made me kind of happy, California is saying that if you have coffee, you have to list it as a potential carcinogen. Because when you roast the coffee, the fats in the coffee can become acrylamides. And so there was a big to-do about the big coffee chain saying that they have to say this is a possible carcinogen. Well, it is. I mean, it's not like they made it up or somebody's picking on you. It does create acrylamides. So this is why you want to stay away from fried foods. Whenever you fry something at a very high temperature, these acrylamides can form, and they're extremely dangerous. So French fries, if you have to make French fries, get some organic potatoes, slice them, put a little bit of oil on them, and bake them. Now, does it taste as good as the deep-fried crunchy ones? I'm going to be honest with you. No, it doesn't. However, we're talking about extreme health today. And so these little tiny sacrifices that you have to make pay outrageously high dividends. And so you can make these little changes as we go through today's show, and we're going to teach you that. Hey, folks, do me a favor. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. Sign up for my newsletter. We send out a lot of good information. In fact, I have a lecture coming up next week, and if you were on my newsletter, you would have got free tickets for it. So, and I think we're going to send that out again. So if you signed up for my newsletter, you come out for the free tickets. If you want to order Super Greens, an essential source, my other supplements, my books, they're all on the website, drjoeesposito.com. Just Google Dr. Joe, also available on Amazon, too, if you have an Amazon account. Hey, folks, got to go to break. Tell your friends about the show. We will be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. So happy you're going to spend a little time together. How exciting this is, huh? Talking today about how to obtain and maintain extreme health. And what's that look like? And it's a lot of fun, believe me. It's a blast. I love going places, and, people think I'm about 12 to 15 years younger than I really am, which I'm perfectly fine with. And a lot of that has to do with just not doing bad things. So a lot of times when it comes to health, it's not so much what you do, it's what you don't do. So much of healthcare is passive, not active. You have to not do what we call the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. You have to not abuse your body, staying up too late, drinking alcohol, things like this. So a lot of it is passive. Now, some of the stuff is fun that you have to give up. I'm not saying, and what'll happen is when you start to change your life, when you get the spine lined up chiropractically, you fix the stomach with acid reflux, you pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, you start taking things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, other supplements. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels to all parts of your body. So, as we get older, sometimes things don't work like they used to because you have circulatory issues. I'm keeping it clean here for kids. Nitric oxide can help open up those blood vessels. And when you start experiencing this extreme health, and then you mess up, because you will, you'll go, wow, I had no idea how easy it was to get healthy, how cheap it was to get healthy, and how easy it is to throw off that fine balance. So got a lot to talk about extreme health. We got a lot of callers, too. So let's go back to the callers. Jana, how can we make your day better?
Hi. Well, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I've dieted pretty heavily to accommodate it and actually make it better. I went into remission for about 6 months, and it's very hard to maintain that diet. But
Sure.
I just was wondering if you had any advice as far as supplementation and things of that sort that I may not even know about.
I'm glad you called, and I'm glad I can help you. The answer is yes. Rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune condition. The body is attacking itself. So the 2 foods I want you to give up starting now are wheat and dairy products. Now, when I say wheat, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, anything made with wheat, and then dairy, anything made with dairy, ice cream, butter, cheese, yogurt, because those are the two, number one and number two, hyperallergenic foods. They cause the body's immune system to go crazy. So I cut those out right away, and that alone should help. Number two, we got to alkalize your system. Every rheumatoid arthritis patient I've ever seen, and there's been a lot of them over the years, their body is too acidic. So alkalizing the system, you do that by getting minerals into your system to neutralize the acids. Foods would be celery, spinach, figs, loaded with minerals. Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, loaded with that. Dr. Joe's enzyme support would probably be helpful for you as well, because the enzymes can help break down the inflammation. And then the other thing is, whenever there's rheumatoid arthritis, the joints will swell and the bones will move out of place. You need to realign those bones to take the pressure off the nerves, and that's going to help the pain tremendously as well. So alkalize the system, raw foods, enzymes, get the joints aligned, and you got to cut out the wheat and the dairy, and I think you'll be thrilled with the results in a relatively short period of time.
Okay. What about curcumin?
Excellent. Curcumin is great. Turmeric. Turmeric is the herb. The active part of it is turmeric, is curcumin. Very, very good. But if you don't do all the other stuff, you're not going to see all the results that you want with the turmeric or the curcumin. You got to kind of make it as a package deal. Okay?
I gotcha. Okay, great.
Thanks,
Thank
Jana.
you so
Appreciate
much.
the call. Let's keep the calls rolling here. Jamal, how can we make your day better?
Hey, how you doing, doctor?
Very well.
First-time caller, just stumbled upon your radio station. I'm a new vegan.
Hey, welcome aboard.
In November, I was walking around with a big gulp cup of alcohol all day, every day.
Oh, wow.
Got a pot belly out this world. I did this 21-day detox, which I had found out about, called for a raw vegan diet.
Perfect.
Found out about being raw vegan and the way it makes the body feel. After the 21-day detox, my stomach was gone. I feel great, more energy. I tried to drink, didn't even want to taste the alcohol in my body.
Right, good.
Immediately got into the gym, got me a trainer. I've been working out. My body is starting to form, but I'm not putting on enough weight because I don't have a meat.
Sure.
With my raw vegan diet. With my vegan diet, I start eating cooked a little, mixed, cooked and raw. But everybody's saying, just add salmon. But what are the dangers in that? And is there any type of protein? I drink like 3 shakes a day with peanut butter in it.
Okay.
And almond milk.
Sure.
And how is that? Because I'm trying to gain and cut into so my body could gain muscle.
Sure. Well, here's the thing.
While I'm in the gym.
Most people, even if you're working out at your level, don't need a lot of protein. In fact, a lot of athletes, and I'm seeing this happen like crazy, a lot of athletes are going to a plant-based diet because they're realizing that they're getting a better cut with the muscle. They're not just putting on weight, they're getting better cut muscles. So it sounds like you're doing great with where you are. If you want to do extra proteins, which I don't think you need, there are a lot of plant-based proteins you can purchase out there, things like hemp seed oil, chia seed. You can do nuts, which are great sources of protein. But again, you only need about 8 to 10% of your total caloric intake as protein. Everything else, even working out at your level, is wasted. And it's got to go through the liver. It's got to go through the kidneys. It's a very stressful food to put in the body in excess. So I would suggest keep doing what you're doing. Your body has to heal. You did a lot of damage with that alcohol. That's not a game to play with. And over time...
Hey, I stopped.
Okay, yeah.
Stop the alcohol.
Good. Now, as I said, you got to fix the damage, though, from,
Yes.
We always have to pay for this.
I understand.
Oh, yeah. But
I have one more question.
Go ahead, real quick.
All right. I see this mini lipo or body sculpting, non-invasive.
Sure.
Because I got my stomach down,
right.
But I'm starting to get abs. I want to try to cut that. How dangerous, or do you recommend that? Or
I don't see a downside to them. There's a couple of them. There's one that uses cold, one that uses heat. I've researched them pretty extensively, and so far I haven't seen any downside to doing it. However, that being said, if you don't do everything else with it, it's not going to work. And if you do everything else, chances are you won't need to do it. So,
but I understand. I'm counting my sodium. I cut out the wheat. I cut out the soy. I'm basically pretty much greens and shakes all day, or sweet potatoes.
Perfect.
That's pretty much my diet.
Okay, sounds like you're doing well. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's going to take some time to get there. I promise you'll get there, though, okay? Thanks, Jamal. Got to go to a break. Folks, if you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe, that number rings through our offices when I'm not on the air. If you want to get the super greens, the essential source, the enzymes, the nitric oxide, the adrenal support, the probiotics, that's all on the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, also available on Amazon. Sign up for my newsletter. Very important that you get that newsletter. We send out a lot of good stuff, many times free tickets to lectures that I'm giving too. And that's all on the website, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. I'll be right back. Hey, folks, I am so glad we get to spend a little time together. Isn't this fun? We're talking today about extreme health. What does that mean? What does that look like? It's not hard. It's amazing how easy it is to obtain and maintain extreme health. And when you finally get there and you start realizing these are the steps you have to take, everyone says the same thing. Gosh, that was worth it. That was amazing. I feel so much better. I'm living so much healthier. I'm saving so much money. So why wouldn't you want to do it? I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the foods, that's the thing, you have control over the foods, a lot of the foods that you eat stimulate what's called the nucleus accumbens in your brain. It's the part of your brain that releases dopamine. Those are the pleasure centers in your brain. So a lot of you are getting high, well, all of you are getting high, from eating these bad foods. And so it's really hard to stop, and you can't imagine not eating these foods that are getting you high, not realizing why you're doing it. And once you break that cycle, once the body starts producing its own dopamine, its normal levels of dopamine, and not needing an outside stimulus, it's pretty amazing. And simple things you can do. You can just make your own food. You know, start to cook at home. If you don't know how to do that, my first book is called Eating Right for the Health of It. That's the name of our podcast, too, by the way, For the Health of It. It teaches you how to eat breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, if you have a party, if you're raising kids, if it's Christmas. And then the second part of the book gives you well over 200 recipes, real simple, easy things that you can make very quickly. If you have kids, sit down with the kids. Teach them how to cook. There's a place called Camp Master Chef from the TV show. And campmasterchef.com is their website. And they have camps in Georgia and Connecticut. And you can send the kids to camp to learn how to cook, to places like campmasterchef.com. But spend time with the kids. Teach them how to do it. And you'll be amazed how much money you'll save. It's insane. When you start thinking about how much money it costs to go out to dinner. I went out to dinner the other night with a couple of my buddies, and I just had beans and rice and something else, a side vegetable. $9, $9.50. For $9.50 at home, I could eat a heck of a lot of plant-based food. But it was a social event, and I'm not complaining about it. I enjoy my time with my buddies, and we had a great time. But if you start looking at how much money you're spending going out, and then you had to leave a tip, and you had to get there, you had to drive there and park, and it's so much easier to prepare food at home. If you don't know how to do it, I wrote a whole book on it. That's good. Eating Right for the Health of It. That's on my website, drjoeesposito.com, where you can also do things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Real easy, very inexpensive. For what you're getting is insane, the value. And that can help curb a lot of your appetite and help your brain work more normally because you're giving the body the raw materials that it needs to function. Let's go back to the callers. David, how can we make your day better?
Doctor, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I'm living with neuropathy. That's my 2 feet have.
Right, so neuropathy.
What do I call it? Another name.
Yeah, okay.
Neuropathy.
Neuropathy. Yeah.
I am hurting.
Okay. Are you diabetic?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So that's a big player with diabetes, of course. And you really need to get your body as healthy as you possibly can. So for someone like you, David, you need to eat a lot more fiber. Because with diabetics, fiber is going to slowly push the food through your colon and give you a slow release of sugar. And that's going to take the stress off your pancreas and get the body to adapt better to utilizing sugar and not becoming what's called insulin resistant. So for you, at least one meal a day needs to be a big salad. And then, of course, no breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, soda. Those all have to go. That can't be in your diet. There's also a supplement that works real well for diabetics called Gymnema. And we have that at our offices. And Gymnema helps stabilize the blood sugar. So Super Greens, Essential Source, and Gymnema would be the supplements I'd recommend for you. Second thing I want to look at. Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
What's the name of that supplement?
Gymnema, Gymnema. If you call my office, if you call a number you called when I'm not on the air, my office, they know what it is. Just say the diabetic supplement to stabilize the blood sugar. They can always come get me if they need to.
Okay, doctor.
And then the super greens and the essential source are vital for someone like you. Second thing is, if you have it in the feet, I want to check the nerve supply in the low back, because the nerves in the low back are the nerve and blood supply to the feet. And so if you have pinched nerves in the low back, that's going to make the neuropathy worse. So we check the nerves in the low back. We get the diet, high-fiber diet, get you off all processed sugars, super greens, essential source, and gymnema. And in most cases with neuropathy, we get amazing results. Okay?
Okay, doctor.
Well, we have one of our offices not too far from you either. So,
okay.
yeah.
I'll call your office, doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I do appreciate the call. Yeah, because what we want to do, folks, with people like David, and for you too, we want to get the nervous system working, the digestive system working, and we want to get the good nutrition. That's the plan. It's not hard. It's easy. And once you start doing it, it's pretty cool. Now, we'll continue on things that you can do to obtain and maintain extreme health. If you have a question, the lines are open, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Those numbers do ring through to our offices. We're not on the air. If you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition, retired dietitian, award-winning author. This show you're hearing now, as far as I know, is the largest health and wellness radio broadcast in the world. And so we're heard all over the country, all over the world with the internet now too. And we want to get you well and keep you well. And if you like what you're hearing, we have podcasts on my website, well over 1,000 hours. I don't know where we are now. It's drjoeesposito.com. And the podcast is called For the Health of It. It should be on the Apple and the iTunes sites. If it's not on there, it'll be up there in about a week or two. So you can listen to all my shows then. And listen to the shows. They're my gift to you. And we do live lectures. I videotape my live lectures. Come out to the live lectures. They are a lot of fun. And I'll show you things I can't show you on the radio, because so much of healthcare is physical, not chemical. And we always think of healthcare as chemical. What supplement can I take? What drug can I take? Many times it's a structural issue. It's a bone out of place. It's a muscle spasm. It's the stomach pushing up against the diaphragm. It's the valves in your colon spasmed. And we need to work on that to physically fix it. So that's why it's so much fun when patients get on board, get the nervous system, digestive system, and nutrition all put together, and they get so excited. And they tell their friends, and they become annoying. You should go see Dr. Joe. Of course you should. It's my team of doctors you'll be seeing as well, but we want to get you well and keep you well. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, and so we want to make it easy. If you're not in that area, because I know the show's heard all around the world, come to Atlanta. It's a great city. Love to have you. And it's a lot of fun. And while you're here, we can see the sights and then also get well. So a couple more things I want to talk about as we're talking about, we're going to have to go to break pretty soon. But I do want to talk about oils. You want to try to use as few oils as possible. That's olive oil. Now, you can use them. I'm not against that. But don't make your whole diet consist of oils, because oil, even though it can be good for you, is still processed. It's not a whole food. So if you're going to do oils, I want to make sure you do organic oils. And even with olive oil, in fact, when I come back, I'm going to tell you a trick to find out if you have real olive oil, because a lot of you have fake olive oil and you don't even know it. So, folks, if you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe, my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Listen to podcasts, order supplements, send me questions, order my books, read articles I've written. We want to be your doctors. 844-44-Dr. Joe. Hey, folks, tell your friends about the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. About the show, Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Hope everybody's happy, having a good day. Hopefully learning a lot of things. Give you a lot of little tips here. Kind of sharing my my secret diary, all the little tips that I do every day to help get well and stay well, and they work. They really do. So I promised you before the break, how do you know if you really have real olive oil in your house? Because that's a big scam. And a lot of the big companies, like brand names that you know, are cutting their olive oil with cheaper oils, and you're thinking you're spending more money to get a quality product, and you may not be. So here's my little trick for you. I want you to take your olive oil and put it in the refrigerator. Leave it overnight. Tomorrow or the next day, whenever you look at it, it should be cloudy and kind of thick. But you'll see like streams of cloud in there. If it doesn't get cloudy, it's not a good oil. And what I want you to do is go back to the store where you bought it, talk to the manager, and say, this is not real olive oil. And then they need to make a move to talk about their suppliers and let them know that that's not real stuff. So kind of a neat little trick, but, as an Italian, I want to make sure you're getting the good quality stuff there, like Grandpa Esposito used to use. But it's easy to cut the olive oil because it's cheaper, but I don't want you getting the cheap stuff. I want you getting the good stuff. So that's a little trick I want you to use. So we're talking today about obtaining and maintaining extreme health. So let's go to the calls. Zach, how can we make your day better?
Hey, how you doing, Doc?
Very good.
I'm a retired Marine, and I work for Home Depot now, but I'm on a concrete floor constantly, 8, 9 hours, 10 hours a day.
Sure.
And I notice, I feel like a pad is under my feet right behind my toes. And sometimes it gets tight, and other times it's just relaxed. So I went and I bought some insoles for people over 200 pounds.
Right.
I weigh about 250. But what causes that?
Well, what happens is 1/4 of all the bones in your body are in your feet. You have 206 bones in your body, and 1/4 of them are down in your feet. So there's a lot of tiny little bones, and that allows us to be flexible and move around. But the problem with that is any one of those bones can come out of place.
Oh, wow.
And when those bones move out of place, now you've messed with the mechanism, the moving mechanism. And so you might put it in a certain position. It'll spasm. You can get things called plantar fasciitis. And the treatment that works best for that is getting those bones realigned. Just like you'd realign the spine or your wrist or your elbow, the feet need to be manipulated or adjusted as well. Then I'd also check the nerves in your low back, because if you've had military service, and thank you for your service,
You're welcome.
You've probably hurt your low back. I mean, I don't know anyone who hasn't hurt their low back in the military. So if you have pinched nerves in the low back, that's the nerve supply that can give you back pain, leg pain, hip pain, but it's also the nerve supply to your feet. So I check the nerve supply in the back. We check the knees, the hips, and the feet, and try to realign everything so that you go back to normal motion again. So that's most likely what's going on.
Okay. So where do you have offices in Stone Mountain?
We're in Duluth. We're right off Satellite Boulevard, so we're not far from you at all. Most of our Stone Mountain patients go right to our Duluth office.
Okay.
Okay.
Can anyone text me that address or?
If you could just, if you call that number, the number you just called, 844-44 Dr. Joe, if you just call us tomorrow, or if you want to hold on, I could have Rachel get your phone number. Okay?
Okay, fine. I'll give her my number.
Great. All right, hold on 1 second. I'll put you through to Rachel, okay? Thanks, Zach.
All right.
Yeah, folks, so what we're talking today about is how do you obtain and maintain good health? And, of course, we'd love to have you as patients. I mean, that's our goal, and I know this show is heard all around the world, so not all of you have access to come see us. But you do have control over what you eat. And that's why it's so important that you make the right choices. And I'm going to talk in a second about the pesticide risk. Certain foods have higher risk of pesticides than others. And I want you, if they're the ones that are high risk, you probably want to always do organic. And some of the other ones I might negotiate with you a little bit. So if you want to sign up for my newsletter, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. And we'll get you can go right on the front page to sign up for the newsletter. And I'm going to send you a lecture that I did called So What Can I Eat? It's absolutely no charge. Just give your email address. We'll send it to you. And it's a fun lecture because it talks about breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, and the things that you can do all day, every day to save money, to save your health, to save time. And we want to get you on our newsletter because, like I said, I have a lot of lectures. And when I do the live lectures, many times, a lot of them are free. But some of them have, whoever's hosting it does have a charge, but a lot of times they'll give me free tickets to give away to my listeners. So you can sign up and we'll send you those and you can sign up and get it because we want you to come out to the live lectures. I do videotape the live lectures. Those are all on my website, drjoeesposito.com. Watch the video. Some people are visual learners, some people auditory. So the podcasts are there if you're auditory. We have the video lectures if you want to listen to those. We want to help you get well and stay well. And we'll give you as much information as we can. At least, if you're not willing to do anything else, at least take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I got them sitting here at the studio with me, and I mix them up. And I use coconut milk or almond milk. You use water if you want, but I like the coconut milk. And to me, it's a treat. I mean, it tastes so good. I look forward to it. But boy, if for some reason I miss it for a day, I really notice the difference. And people just love the Super Greens and the Essential Source. Most of them do. I don't think anybody doesn't like them. But at least do that. And then look through the other supplements. We have Dr. Joe's enzyme support, vitamin D. If you're not getting 20 minutes of sunlight a day, most of you are deficient in vitamin D. We have nitric oxide to increase circulation for brain function, but also for romantic function. Works pretty well there. Adrenal support. Most of you have burned out your adrenal glands. I take adrenal support every day. Probiotics. You need to get the good bacteria in your colon to get your colon working properly. And most of us have destroyed some of that by doing things like pesticides. And pesticides can kill off the good bacteria, and that really messes with your health. We have way more bacteria cells in our body than we have human cells. So the pesticide risk, you need to know your risk. The highest pesticide foods, these are the ones you always want to do organic. Apples, cherries, especially imported grapes, but I would say all grapes. Nectarines, peaches, pears. Again, things that you're going to eat the skin. You see the pattern here? Apples, nectarines, peaches, pears. Raspberries, strawberries, bell peppers, celery, and even hot peppers many times are the highest pesticide content. Some of those are so easy, like hot peppers grow so easily, folks. Just plant some if you want to get them. The lowest ones, bananas, blueberries, grapefruit, kiwi, mangoes, papayas, pineapples, plantains, plums, watermelon, asparagus. Those are the ones you probably don't need to do organic. If it's good if you can, but if you can't have access to them, those are the ones you can I'll negotiate with you a little bit. Avocados are great, and then anything that grows underground, potatoes, onions, I recommend you do organic for those as well. Folks, got to go to a break. Again, the website's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Sign up for my newsletter. Love to have you there so we can send you good information. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. We want to be your doctors. We want to help you get well and stay well. So do me a favor. Somebody just dropped off the line. Tell your friends about the show. The number here is 844-44-Dr. Joe. That number rings through to my offices if you want to make appointments or if you have questions when I'm not on the air. 844-44-Dr. Joe. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, folks. Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am so glad that you're spending some time with me today. We're talking today about obtaining and maintaining extreme health. Not just regular health, not just, I feel okay today, extreme health. What that looks like is when you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, and you're excited, and you want to go to work or whatever you do, and you go through the day, and at the end of the day, you go, man, I had so much to do. I just didn't have enough time, but I got a lot of it done, and I feel good about myself. Being able to sleep 6, 7, 8 hours straight through, not having weird dreams, saving a ton of money on food and health care. That's extreme health. Living longer, living happier, being better than everybody else your age. I like that one. So there's a lot of things you can do. So one of the things you want to do, of course, is that you have control over is cut out things like sugar, because sugar's everywhere. That's breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. You got to do some things if you're serious about wanting to get well, and you want to do them now. And I've been on radio now for, decades. And between radio, television, I was looking at my resume the other day. Man, I've been on radio and television for a long time. And people come up to me all the time and say, Dr. Joe, you changed my life. I was at a store the other day, and I was talking to somebody, and this fellow with a walker spins around. He says, you're that guy on the radio. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, I want to thank you. And I said, for what? He says, you saved my life. And he shook my hand, had tears in his eyes. And he said, I was given up for dead. I had cancer. They gave me up for dead. Now, again, I'm not saying this is the cure for cancer. He says, but I started doing what you said, giving up what you call the 7 deadly sins, eating a lot more raw foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. He said, I've been taking Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. He said, I've lost a ton of weight, and my cancer is now going into remission. And the doctor said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And he said, well, I've been following Dr. Joe Esposito. And the doctor said, he's the best. Whatever he says, just keep doing it because it's working. That's kind of nice. I don't know who this other doctor is. But it's not hard to get well. It's easy. And sugar's one of the tough ones because we eat it pretty much not every day, but every meal. Breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, sodas. So the problem is that once you eat a little bit, you can't stop. I can't stop. I'm no different than you. If I have breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, immediately my first thought is I want more. So cutting it out altogether is important. It's kind of like alcohol. If you're an alcoholic and you have one drink, boom, you're off the wagon. You can't stop. And that's what people do with sugar. The problem is sugar is, legal for everybody at all ages, and you're not going to get pulled over and get a DUI for eating sugar, but maybe you should. Because sometimes we need a little kick in the fanny. And be wary of foods, because a lot of times foods have hidden sugars in them. Salad dressings, spaghetti sauces. I'm Italian. We never put sugar in our sauce. It was tomato paste, tomatoes, basil. garlic, olive oil, you cooked it up. And you want to get it sweet, you put a carrot in there. But when you add sugar to it, sure, it tastes great, but it's not the best thing for you. So eating a lot of high-fiber foods is going to help control those cravings because fiber is going to push the food through your colon and give you a slow release of energy. Now, the big question I get all the time, especially as a chiropractor, because patients come in with neck pain and joint pain and knee pain and foot pain, is how do I lose weight? And so as we wrap up the show, I want to talk about that. And one of the things we find is a study out of University of Tennessee. They found that people that had a lot of minerals in their diet, especially calcium, tended to lose weight. They divided 34 obese participants into two groups. One group received a diet that contained 1,100 milligrams of calcium. The other followed a reduced calorie diet. The group that followed the diet with more calcium lost 22% more weight. So you need to get the minerals in your body to get the body functioning normally. Where do you get minerals from? High-quality foods, things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Countless patients have said over the years, Doc, I take this and I don't have food cravings anymore. Or I'm eating less food because I'm not hungry. I've had a lot of people say, Doc, I can't afford not to take it. I save so much money when I take it because I don't have the cravings. Now, if you take it one day, it's probably not going to solve your problem. It may take a while. So take it for a month. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what? I'm wrong, but I'm right. And you'll see what happens. The other thing, too, that happens with me, I was just talking to a friend of mine today, as a matter of fact, if the stomach pushes up against your diaphragm and you have acid reflux or heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, there's a hormone in your stomach called leptin. And leptin gets absorbed in your body, goes up into what's called the hypothalamus in your brain, and it tells you that you're full. And now, I don't have any research on this if the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm, but personal experience and clinical experience says that when I pull the stomach away from the diaphragm and get everything to relax, I am not craving food anymore. Even if I'm stuffed and my stomach is acting up, I want to keep eating. Anybody like that aside from me? And my friend Tim, who told me that today? A lot of you have it. And so when we fix it, the body starts to work normally, and then you're able to eat normal amounts of food without those crazy ravenous cravings. Oh, my God, I got to eat more, even though I can't even put another bite in my stomach. It's going to hurt. I still want more. Because your brain, remember, controls everything. Your brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body, and anything that interferes with the messages is going to have a negative impact on your body. And as we keep talking about trying to lose weight, got to fix the physical stuff. If you're in pain, of course, you want to eat more because pain can, when you eat bad foods, it releases endorphins from your brain and dopamine, which can help cover up your pain. That's why when you're sick, you don't eat right because you're trying to produce these chemicals in your brain to make you feel good, and then you'll hopefully say, well, at least I feel a little better, but long-term, you're going to have problems. Also, you got to stay in motion. This is really important. When I do my radio shows, I stand up. And I know some of my hosts sit down, and that's okay. Everybody has their own choice. But when you stand up, you're burning calories. You're using energy. You're building muscle mass. So get up and walk around. And here's a little trick I want you to do. You're supposed to drink more water. Most of us don't drink enough water. And you got to get up and move. So how can we combine those two things? Well, here's how you do it. Drink a lot of water, and then you got to get up and pee. And when you got to get up and pee, if you work in a big building, take the furthest bathroom. Walk to the bathroom. And those little things like taking steps is going to be huge. And if you want to do it, full-blown motion, get yourself a pedometer. And with a pedometer, it's a little thing you put on your belt. Don't use the one on your phone because I don't want you carrying your phone around. Your phone has electromagnetic frequencies, and EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, can actually short-circuit your nervous system. So what you can do is get a pedometer, walk around. You want to do 10,000 steps a day. Most people do about 5,000 or 6,000 just in their daily routines. So it's not a lot more. Folks, if you're just tuning in, you missed a great show. It's going to be on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. It's part of our podcast, our series of podcasts. We got hundreds of them. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, if you want to order Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Essential Source, the adrenal supplements, the nitric oxide, the probiotics, those are all on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, also available on Amazon. But folks, thank you so much for your time. We want to be your doctors. We want to get you well and keep you well. Tell your friends about the show. We'll catch you next time.